and welcome back to the channel of four-wheeled nonsense. Now, what do you think is the most exciting car that's coming out this year? The whole of the internet seems to think it's some new Bugatti with a V16 engine, a 1 meter long crankshaft, 2,000 horsepower and a 300-mile-an-hour top speed, blah, 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 numbers, numbers. All of those people are wrong. They're so wrong, it actually hurts my testicles a little bit, because I think the most exciting new car coming out this year is this. Yes, rather obviously, it's the new Skoda Superb, and I've popped over here to Ramsgate to find out if it is actually any good, because I really like the old one, so yeah, let's see if it matches up. Now, this is obviously the estate version. There's still a hatchback version, unlike the Passat, which is the sister car to this. And I say sister, they're like sisters that were twins, because the new Passat was actually developed by Skoda, because it is basically this car. And Skoda's saying, we're better at estates than you, Volkswagen, we've got this one. But yeah, I think it's quite a smart looking thing in the flesh. This is the new iced tea colour. There's some reds, some greys, some blues, some blacks as well. You've got this new octagonal grille. It looks more business-like. It looks a lot like the new Kodiaq, actually, with which this shares an interior. You've got LED matrix headlights now as standard on the mid-spec SEL and up. This is a top-spec Laurent and Clement, or Clement if you're not being a poncy French twat. And it's got some little wing badges here as well. I think it looks business-like. The Skoda Superb has never been a Ferrari 355 rival. But yeah, I think this does the job rather quite nicely. Let's have a look at it. Firstly, apologies for changing the camera angle and ruining the seaside idyll that I set up carefully in the first shot. You can now see all the traffic and dog walkers, but whatever, look here. The size of it is 4.9 meters long. It's now 40 mil longer than the previous Superb. It's now the same length, there or thereabouts, as a BMW 5 Series estate. It's a properly big car. But Skoda's done some work to make it 15% more aerodynamic than before. It's now got a coefficient of drag of 0.25. It's got new, more aerodynamic door mirrors. It can drop 40 mil, that's a lot. It can drop 15 mil if you get the optional sports suspension as well. And it comes in obviously a range of different alloy designs going from 17 inch to 19 inch. These are the big old 19s on this top spec version. But yeah, it's a bit of a land yacht. It's quite big. I'm still going. That's going to make it one of the best cars for carrying things, because let's check out what's in there. I see why people don't come here to film car reviews, because the whole of Portugal, sorry, Ramsgate has turned up to do some teenage kissing behind the camera, but whatever. Let's talk about the new ice scraper, that's important. It's no longer translucent yellow, because it's made of more sustainable materials than before. The umbrellas in the door are as well. You still get them, which is important. The back end looks a bit more business-like, a bit more premium, I think. You've got Skoda's new logo, where the little S hat is included in the letter S there. The reversing camera has a little washer on it as well. But the big deal is, unsurprisingly, the boot. It's 690 litres. It's 30 litres bigger than before. It is now the same as the new Passat though. It is a vast space, and as someone who gets excited about big boots, I want to go and kind of walk into the sea and have a little moment with myself, because this is very exciting. You can fit so much stuff in there. You've got levers here so you can flip the rear seats down remotely. You've got a 12-volt socket. You've even got some room under the boot floor, and you've got this divider thing, stop stuff sliding about. This one's got a tow bar as well, and it's got a new load cover, supposedly. Well, that looks like the old one to me. Whatever. It's a huge boot. This is why I buy Superb. If you want to carry lots of stuff, don't look any further than a Superb estate, either this or the old one, to be honest, because it does the job better than anything else without having a top box, a roof box on. Well, blow me down if it's not more spacious than a small Galaxy in here as well. They've made it bigger on the outside, and that means I've got 8 mil more headroom than in the previous Superb. I'm 6'3". That is the same as in my driving position, even though the seat's over there. Loads of legroom, loads of footroom, because there aren't batteries under the floor, because this is a diesel one. And yeah, it is just a really relaxing place to sit. I've got a big panoramic sunroof in this L&K one, and that doesn't eat into headroom too much, although if I was an inch taller, I would hit my head on the roof. I've got 2 USB-Cs, I've got climate controls, I've got heated rear seats in this one. I've got felt-lined rear door bins, that's the holy grail of rear door bins, and I've got a very clever centre armrest, he says, which has got a tablet holder, so you can put your tablet in the middle so your rear seat passengers can watch the same iPad. And I've got some octagonal cup holders here. It is well thought out, to put it mildly. I would go as far as saying it's quite good. rear door blinds as well. Now, the best thing about the new Superb's rear seats isn't that it's roomier than the Pantheon in Rome, it's the fact that you can option the sleep pack, which gives you these little fold out wings from the rear headrest, like you're on a BA flight. And yeah, you can rest your head there and go to sleep if you want. They feel a little bit weirdly shaped, to be honest. I'm not sure it would be super comfortable. This one digs in my head a little bit, but yeah, it's a cool feature. It's just an option, I think. They're not standard. Maybe they are on this L&K one, but anyway, let's see the rest of the car. Right, this is the Superb's cabin, and it is a very special place. It feels more premium than before. It's a new design, a new layout, all new stuff that we're also going to see in the Kodiaq, which is out next month as well. The key features are big 13-inch infotainment system there, which is actually quite easy to use. It's the same system as in the Volkswagen ID.7, but with a Skoda skin. Very easy to use. You've got shortcuts there at the top left, things like self-parking to turn off your stop-start and things like that. You have got physical climate controls, but we'll get onto those in a second because they're a bit special. The gear shifter is there behind the steering wheel, like in an ID.3. You twist that and you go into park and drive. Let me show you. You've got the digital dashboard there in all models, and you can use it to show your maps and things like that. The fact I left the door open, as I have. Yeah, and you can see your fuel economy and all that good stuff there. Now, this being an L&K, it's kitted out with things like heated steering wheel. It's got these wood trims, which actually feel rather lovely there, and across the dashboard down there. It's got cooled front seats, they're massage seats, but the big deal is Skoda's new SMARTKNOBS. That's definitely not what they're called, but look, you can adjust the temperature, but then you can click them in and change things like heated seat, cooled seat. It's a little bit Land Rover, but nicer, with these kind of, I think it's 34mm screens in each one. And this one can do the fans, it can do your audio, it can do your driving mode, or you can press and hold it, and then you get to configure it up there on the screen, so you can choose what it does, like zoom the map and change the air direction. It's actually a good system, works really well, and it means you can keep your eyes on the road for more of the time. Now down there we've got a new fast charging wireless charging mat. I think it's 15 watts, it's cooled so your phone shouldn't overheat. Couple of USB-Cs, they're 45 watts now. You've got the grippy thing there, so you can open a bottle one-handed. I'm not sure about the armrest. It's called the Jumbo Box, and it comes with this thing, which is for cleaning your touchscreen, which is quite cool. But yeah, loads of storage in there. Sorry it's a bit dark, but you've got little holders there for phones and for keys and things. What I'm not so keen on is the fact that now this armrest opens like this, you can't tilt it up, and you can't extend it in and out to rest your arm on. So that is my biggest niggle with the cabin, but it's not exactly a big one. It's easy to use. The upgraded Canton sound system in this is actually pretty good. It's pretty bassy, pretty thumpy. I've enjoyed driving this. You get a head-up display now for the first time as well, like a proper one, so it reflects in the windscreen. First time that's been on a Skoda, makes it feel more like an Audi, which is always a good thing. They're going to add ChatGPT to the infotainment system at some point, so you'll be able to ask it all sorts of inane questions and it will steal the answers from China. I'm joking, don't comment on the video. But yeah, look at that. Nice looking cabin. A Skoda has never felt this smart. Now, I'm stupidly excited to be saying this, but in 2024, Skoda's released a diesel estate car. There are 2 diesels, there are 3 petrols, there's a plug-in hybrid in the new Superb. Why am I so pleased? Because a diesel suits this car down to the ground. In my old Superb long-termer, I used a 150 horsepower engine and got 65 mpg and a tank range of over 900 miles. This has got that same engine. This is the 193 horsepower diesel, which is 4-wheel drive. The 150 is only front-wheel drive. You've also got a 1.5 petrol of 150 horsepower, a couple of 2-litre petrols with more power, close to 200 horsepower, and you've got a plug-in hybrid, which has 203 horsepower total, using that 150 horsepower 1.5 petrol engine with an electric motor, but it can do about 60 miles on a charge. It's Volkswagen Group's new generation PHEV system. And yeah, if it can do anywhere near 60 miles on a charge, that'd be really good. And also it can fast charge up to 40 kilowatts. So it's actually a PHEV that you don't have to charge at home, which does make a lot of sense, and it's quite a cool thing. But yeah, this diesel though is the one I would pick. It's crazy to be saying it's a diesel estate car in 2024, but yeah, well done Skoda, keeping it real. Right, let's go for a drive in the new Skoda Superb. Now, I've been filming down quite a bumpy, lumpy track, but this is the 4-wheel drive version, as I said, of the 2-litre diesel, so I've not been too worried. It's not exactly jacked up, although I wonder if they'll do a Superb Scout like before, the kind of slightly jacked up off-roady one. But anyway, you start this car by pressing a button down there, then you twist the ID.3 style gear knob to put it into D, and then off you go. And the first thing you notice is really just how easy it is to drive. There's nothing confusing about it. The automatic gearbox does what you want it to do. It's always in the right gear for acceleration and all the rest of it. And you have got paddles to use if you want to, but they're plasticky, and frankly, my experience, you use them once, and that is about it. But yeah, visibility all round, really surprisingly good. Sometimes in estate cars, the rear window feels like it's in a different cooling code all the way back there, if I'm being American, and I am today. The mirrors are big, the steering is light, it's just very, very easy. I even quite like the two-spoke Skoda steering wheel that Skoda puts on some of its models, like this L&K one. It just feels a bit regal. You can drive it like you're a Rolls-Royce driver. But yeah, it's not a sporty car. I've done some twisty roads in this, and it grips well enough, but there's a bit of body roll. It's more set up for comfort than hooning, and Skoda never does a VRS version of its Superb. Although it'd be nice if they proved me wrong, maybe. You could get the 265 horsepower petrol if you want a fast one. Sadly, that's down from 280 in the previous gen, but I guess we can probably blame emissions for that. But yeah, a nice, easy car to drive, but what it's really designed for is motorway driving. So let's go and do some of that now. Right, that stuff's all well and good, but as an ex-Skoda Superb owner, I know what these cars really excel at is long-distance motorway cruises. So here I am, doing about 70, 80 miles an hour on a Portuguese motorway. It's 22 degrees outside, I'm still dressed for a UK winter, but it's not a problem because I'm having my back massaged. I've got the cooled seats on using one of the clever knobs down here. And I have to say, I think refinement is a step up from the previous generation Superb. I'm just getting less noise in the cabin from wind and tyres, yet it's still just a very comfortable costing car to drive. The big difference for me really is actually this car is fitted with the head-up display, and it's not one of those crappy flip-up plastic ones that you get in minis and things like that. There's actually a proper reflected in the windscreen head-up display that shows your sat-nav, your turns, your driver assist and all that stuff. And it just makes you feel like you're in a much posher car than you might think from a Skoda. Now, this is an L&K model, top spec one, and it's got dynamic dampers fitted. So I can adjust those. In comfort mode, it gets softer. I'm in comfort mode at the moment. And the ride is pretty good. And you can stiffen it up in your individual mode using one of those sliding scales of firmness that we've seen from Volkswagen Group before. But yeah, it is a great motorway car. I can tell they've done a good job. Now, I've just got to make sure I go through the right gate at this toll booth. I've got an automatic beeper. How fast can I go through it before it slams the barrier down? Is it going to beep? Is it going to beep? Yep, €1.50. I don't think I should have slowed down. Everyone else is piling through at 100 kilometers an hour. But whatever. This 193 horsepower diesel is fast enough. It doesn't feel especially much more powerful than the 150 version. But if you want a diesel four-wheel drive Superb, this is the one that you're going to have to pick. I think I've said this as well, but they're all automatics, no manuals. There's nowhere to put a manual gear knob anymore. It's all been simplified. Your gear changes up here like in an ID3 or something like that. But yeah, boring Skoda Superb driving stuff done superbly, which is actually, when you're stuck in traffic, having to do big journeys, this is what really matters, not hooning around twisty roads. Right, while I'm stuck in traffic just outside of Margate, I should probably tell you that the Skoda Superb's got all new electrical majonkers underneath it, which means it's got more safety assist systems than ever before on a Skoda. So you've got these kind of nano sensors in the corners of the front bumpers, and as I understand it, they basically give you longer range radar to the sides of the car, useful when you're pulling out of blind driveways that warn you if there's an oncoming cyclist, pedestrian or car. So it basically means you're less likely to crash it than before. You've got your usual radar cruise control, you've got radars that can see further than before as well, and you've got traffic jam assist, so you can use the adaptive cruise down to 0 and it will crawl for you in traffic. All of that good stuff that just makes life a little bit easier, like when I'm cutting up this Mercedes taxi driver. Thank you, sorry. I knew you were there though. I did that safely. Right, hopefully that covers all your questions about how the Superb drives. It's comfortable, it's refined, it's not a sports car, but what did you really expect? Let's go back to me for a conclusion. Right, let's sum up my thoughts then on my day with the new Skoda Superb. When you boil it down, it is still very Skoda. Admittedly, the prices haven't been confirmed yet, but if the price is right, this is, well, they say simply clever. It does all the things you really need it to do in the real world. It's got a massive boot, it's got loads of space in the rear like the old Superb, but now feels way more modern up front. It feels a really nice car to drive around to live with, and it's got all the mod cons that could put some German manufacturers really to shame. cooled massage seats in this L&K one, a head-up display. Yeah, it will be more expensive than the last one, but it looks more expensive, and it just ticks all the boxes. And as I said in the engine bit, I'm quite glad there is a diesel version for those of us that do big mileages, for those of us who want to go long distances without filling up while getting good MPG. And if you do town driving, that kind of stuff, there is the plug-in option as well. So yeah, it's still comfortable-ish to drive. It's not the most refined, but it's pretty decent. And yeah, I've just really fallen in love with it in a kind of sort of boring, I would love to live with one sort of way. I'm going to give it 10 Tim Roadies out of 10. I think we saw that coming, didn't we? I love when Skoda just sticks to their roots and does big things for decent prices, hopefully. Otherwise, if it's 70 grand, I'm going to look like a right twat, but I'm going to stick the prices up here and hopefully it's not stupidly expensive. Brilliant. How's that for a conclusion? The Superb is, sadly, superb. Now, I'm still going to buy that Bugatti, but one of those would look quite nice next to it. Oh, thank you for watching this nonsense. Please hit like, go down to the comments and leave me the Portuguese word for "that's not Ramsgate, you bald idiot."